Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Dr. Ghost and today we're going to be going over if you should buy the kit or not. I know it's in the store right now. It's on sale for about 8,000 doubloons. If you go take a look, yeah, 8,750 doubloons, which I think is a pretty good deal for the kid. I personally quite love this ship, man. It's one of my favorite destroyers out there. And one thing to mention, it's a phenomenal gunboat at tier 6. And if you guys like gunboats, I'm just going to answer your question right now immediately. You guys will love the kid. It's a Fletcher class destroyer. And it is, yeah, it's basically a Fletcher. It's got a little worse reload. On my build, I got a 3.1 second reload, but I've got five 5-inch guns, shoot out to 10.7 kilometers, so I'm literally putting out 5 shells every 3 seconds, man. It's quite fun. You guys will see that in the gameplay portion of the video. But for my build on my kid, I'm going to go over to that. Let's get out of the store here. On my build, I've got aiming systems, so I get that little minus 7% to my dispersion and all that stuff. I've got propulsion mod, which helps me get up to speed quicker. For example, if there's like torpedoes incoming in my smoke screens, I can't count how many times propulsion mod has saved my life. So it's one of those skills that I really like, or one of those upgrades I really like putting on. And for the final one, it's a no-brainer. If you're in a destroyer, I'm putting concealment systems mod 1 on. If you're in any DD these days and you don't have concealment systems mod on, I don't know what you're doing. But hey, to each their own. But yeah, I prefer to put on concealment systems mod. It does help out. The minus 10% to my detectability range, which is about a kilometer less concealment. That's huge. That's absolutely huge. And also, incoming fire dispersion plus 5%. So yeah. Now for the loadout, we've got HE, AP, we've got torpedoes. The torpedoes, now, however, the Fletcher, for example, the other version of this ship, aka the lead ship of the Fletcher classes, that thing has 10 kilometer torpedoes, 10 kilometer torps. This thing only has 6 kilometer torps, and the Fletcher gets 2 torpedo launchers, and the kid only gets 1. So the torpedoes are significantly worse on the kid. Like they're worse by a long shot. They only have 6.4 range. 55 knot speed, 16,000 maximum damage, which is pretty good. So if people do actually get close to you, these torpedoes are good. But other than that, don't try to stealth torp. It usually doesn't work out very well. We got damage controls. We've got American smoke screens. That's right. This thing has phenomenal smokes. We'll talk more about that in the gameplay. We've got 2 repair parties. That's right. The kid gets repair parties, which is pretty awesome. You guys will see some of that also in the gameplay where we utilize our heals. But yeah, it just makes it more of a gunboat, man. It keeps you in the fight longer. So getting those 2 extra heals is pretty awesome. And of course, you got your engine boost, or you can put on DFAA. And not to mention, the kid does have pretty good AA for a destroyer at tier 6. So keep that in mind. It does actually have really decent AA. Now, if we go take a look at my survivability here, I've got 19,950 hit points, which is really high for a destroyer. For the artillery, obviously, we already went over that a little bit. Torpedoes are really bad. We've kind of already touched on that as well. The AA defense is pretty good for a destroyer. 56 AA base rating. And yeah, the average AA damage per second on the 127 millimeters. That's right. Your 5-inch guns actually count as AA as well. Keep that in mind. They are dual purpose. And what dual purpose guns means basically means that they can shoot at surface ships and they can be used to shoot at planes. So these 5-inch guns actually act as AA as well. They give you a little bit of damage. You also have those classic American 40 millimeter Bofors, 32 average damage per second. You get also even more 40 millimeter Bofors with an average damage of 34, and you get some of the 20 millimeter short range Orlikins that give you around a 37 average damage per second. So overall, the AA on the kid is pretty damn decent. The maneuverability on my kid right now is about 37 knots, 620 meter turning circle radius, and with a 4.3 second rudder shift. And for the concealment on my build, I've got a 5.5 concealment range by sea. I've got a 3.1 by air, and a 2 guaranteed, and also a 2.6 while firing in smoke. Now for the armor, non-existent, kind of follows the same traits as all destroyers. You got 20 millimeters of bow and stern armor, so I mean technically, if cruisers with AP shoot at your bow, you can maybe ricochet some of them, but other than that, pretty much all high explosive is gonna plaster you. So be careful in your kid, or any destroyer for that matter. You don't got any armor to tank hits. So yeah. Now, if we take a look at the commander I have, this may look like High Sorcerer Radeon, but it's actually, I've got Vincent Mordoff on. If I just take the guys off, so it's less confusing. But I do have Vincent Mordoff on. And you guys could put on William Halsey. Vincent Mordoff is basically like the premium version of William Halsey. He's a better William Halsey. So just keep that in mind. But you can go with William Halsey. You do get really good results pretty much regardless. Now, for the build I have, for the build I have, for the inspirations, I have William Sims for the extra HP per tier, so I get an extra 400 HP. So I'm a tier 6, so I get around like 3,000 to 4,000 extra hit points. That's really significant. So having William Sims as an inspiration, it's pretty cool. It gives me a lot extra HP to work with. And for my second inspiration, I have Eric Bay, the minus 3.6 destroyer detectability, so pretty helpful. Base trait, we've got Waste Not, which decreases my reload by about almost 6%. We've got Observant Range, Look at Me Now, Perceptive, Sheltered Arms, and Leviathan. He's a legendary 3, rank 16 captain, and with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring you guys over to the gameplay. I hope you all do enjoy it. Alrighty, so here we are in the gameplay portion of the video. We are in the KIDD, obviously, and we're going to be on Tears of the Desert. It's going to be a domination mode, surprisingly. It's finally not Epicenter. Oh my gosh. I can't count how much I just, have gotten absolutely obliterated, or my team's gotten absolutely obliterated, or people just don't know what they need to do on Epicenter. It's a mess, but hey, at least we got domination this mode this time. So, we're in the KIDD. And we are a full-on gunboat build, obviously, like we talked about in the beginning of the video. And as you guys can see, this is a full-on Fletcher-class destroyer. You've got 5 5-inch guns, and let me tell you, these guns are phenomenal. And we're going to showcase a little bit of that in the gameplay. So it looks like on the enemy team, we've got a Yudachi, a Z35, and an Akatsuki. So we got to watch out for those guys. If we do see them, we do want to take them out. Remember, guys, your job in a destroyer, especially a gunboat destroyer, is to kill those other destroyers, man. You've got the firepower, you've got the guns to do it, so if you see other destroyers, especially at close range, take those shots at them. Get them off the board, help your team out, because you don't want to leave those destroyers alive and have them go out and start torping your battleships, for example. Now, another thing I want to mention, too, is spot the enemy team, guys. Like, as you guys can see what we're doing here, we're going into the cap. That's one of the jobs as well. Getting those capture zones and getting those points, and we are spotting people in the process, so it's pretty important that we do these things. Now, I am keeping a lookout for an enemy destroyer. I'm expecting a destroyer to come into this cap. However, it does not look like it's going to happen, so yeah, we're going to be able to get this cap basically for free, so pretty cool stuff. Now, one thing to keep in mind, too, with the KIDD, you are a destroyer at the end of the day, so you need to be careful. You don't want to be overextending. You don't want to get caught in a bad position. So what you guys need to be doing is, number one, obviously, getting those caps, but after you get the caps, keep distance. Don't be going in there and getting yourself into, like, secondary range of certain ships, or just be careful, because one wrong move and one wrong play could be the end of your game. So you guys got to really keep an eye out where people are. Keep an eye out where the carrier's planes are, for example. As you guys can see here, the carrier is sending his torpedo bombers in. But just keep a weary eye out. Keep your head on a swivel. That's what you guys really need to be doing in any destroyer. When you guys have that situational awareness, when you guys keep an eye on the minimap, it's going to help your gameplay a lot. And I can't express that enough. So, yeah. Now, we're getting shot at by the enemy team now because the carrier did spot us when he came over with his planes. He is actually going to come in here and try to do a torpedo attack on us. Now, remember, the KIDD has good AA. However, the Implacable does have really strong planes, so we're not going to do a whole lot of damage to his planes. It's going to take a lot longer to kill his planes, basically. So, yeah, keep that in mind. Now, unfortunately, we haven't seen any destroyers yet, so we're just kind of like sitting back, keeping those guys spotted best we can. And we're really just trying to stay alive. I don't want to get into a bad position and potentially get absolutely obliterated. I mean, look at our health now. We just got hit a couple times by someone over there. It looks like one of the battleships. And we are now getting absolutely obliterated. This is what I mean, guys. You need to keep your distance. And now we're popping a smoke screen. And we're going to be able to sit here and begin the Daka process. This is really where the gameplay portion starts. But as you guys could see, just take a minute to look at the firepower of this kid. You're shooting all these 5-inch guns off. They do pretty good damage when you actually hit areas where you can penetrate. And not to mention, you do get some fires here and there. You've only got a 5% fire chance, but the HE is pretty good, and you've got a lot of it. So you're just going to be able to dish out a lot of raw firepower. That's what these things are all about. They're gunboats. And look at the damage slowly tick up. I mean, that's literally what's going to be going down here. Now, it looks like on the enemy team, they have lost 2 out of their 3 destroyers. That's huge. So really, we don't have to do our job. I think most of the destroyers were on the other side of the map. So we just really haven't needed to take out those destroyers. Now, our perceptive is pointing towards that Bismarck still. So I think that really the Bismarck is the closest ship to us. Or there might be another destroyer next to him. So we got to watch out for that. But, you know, just this is kind of what I do, guys. I think about a lot of these things. I'm like, okay, my perceptive is pointing towards there. There might be a destroyer there. It might just be the battleship. You know, you got to keep your head on a swivel. You got to really have some situational awareness. Keep an eye on what's happening around you. And when you do that, it's going to improve your gameplay. Now, we did just get our first kill of the game. For granted, I did kind of yoink it. But, hey, whatever. And also, there we go. Udachi spotted. Finally, a destroyer gets spotted. And it looks like he thought he was slick. Coming within 4.7 kilometers of me, which, let's be real, he wasn't. So we return fire at him and do some pretty decent damage. He does smoke up, so he's going to get away for the time being. Now, Ganai's now out here. We are trying to basically run away, get as much distance between us and that smoke screen as possible, and in the process, we are just going to keep the Daka going. This is what the KIDD's all about. The KIDD is like a dance. You just gotta dance around, shoot those 5-inch guns off, disengage when you need to, re-engage whenever you need to, and it's just like a dance you gotta get used to, and it's definitely a good time. It really is. The guns on this thing are just phenomenal, and we already used 2 of our heals, funny enough, because we've just been getting absolutely smacked around, but without those heals, we probably would have been dead by now, so yeah, pretty cool stuff. But we are just being right now a thorn in the enemy's side. An absolute thorn in the enemy's side. And yeah, and we also did just get our second kill of the game on that Ganai's. And we're already up to 44,000 damage. Just with our guns, guys. Just with our guns, we're already up to 44,000 damage. I mean, that right there should show what this thing's all about. It's a KIDD, it's a gunboat, it's a Fletcher. What else can I say? It's a good time. And to bring up the question, is this thing worth it or not? The only answer I could provide you is if you like gunboat destroyers, like for example, like the Fletcher, if you guys like the Farragut, if you guys like the Friesland or other gunboats out there, I think you guys will really enjoy it. You got to accept the fact that this thing does not have very good torpedoes, and when you can accept that and get used to just using your guns, this ship is an awesome boat. It's a good time, seriously. So now we are basically going to win this game. Our team has done really well up to this point, and I'm not going to lie, it's been kind of one-sided. The enemy team has just completely collapsed. I mean, some of the guys on the enemy team are doing things, but it really has been one-sided. This game really hasn't been too close. So, yeah, in the earlier game there, we did just get absolutely obliterated, but we got out of there. We disengaged. Even though we were firing our guns off, we still managed to get out of there, which I think is pretty funny. But yeah, like I said, man, this thing's awesome. If you guys like gunboats, the KIDD is phenomenal. And I've had better games in the KIDD. This is just kind of one of my regular games that I have here and there. But you can have really good games in the KIDD, man. Especially when you get into those lobbies where you're top tier, a bunch of tier 5 destroyers, and you can just absolutely dominate. You can dominate lobbies in the KIDD, man. It's a great cap contester, and it's absolutely phenomenal at taking out other destroyers, especially when you put on that skill that... like, for example, Perceptive, a.k.a. Twist and Track. That does help out a lot. It shows you where the nearest ship is. So, yeah. I mean, overall, I do recommend this ship if you like gunboats. But if you're a torpedo main, like if you guys like torpedo boats, I would highly suggest going with the Z-35. For example, that's another great destroyer. It also does have pretty good guns. It's got good sonar. But, yeah, if you guys like torpedo boats, this is definitely not the ship for you. It just does not torpedo whatsoever. But... if you like gunboats, man, this thing's phenomenal. And as you guys can see there, I mean, just look at the firepower. Bop, 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 bop. Bop, 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 bop. It's just like, what else can I say? It's a blast. It really is. Literally and figuratively, it's a blast. So, with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to go ahead and, yeah, let this kind of go on here. We're just absolutely just, yeah, smacking these guys around with the 5-inch guns. We're doing a little bit of damage over time. And up to this point, we've done our job. We got the cap earlier. Unfortunately, the enemy team just pushed in there, so we had to literally retreat. But hey, we've done pretty good up to this point, and it's going to show at the end of the video in the match results. So, yeah. With all that being said, I'm going to actually go ahead and fast forwards to the end of the video because there's really not much that happens really in the next few minutes to come. So I'm just going to fast forward for you guys, and I will see you all there. Okay, so we are at the end of the match. Yeah, this thing, man, it's fun. If you guys like gunboats, basically to sum this all up, you guys will like the KIDD. It's a phenomenal destroyer in terms of gunboating, and it's, I think, one of the best, if not the best, gunboats at Tier 6. But, yeah, I mean, it's not a bad destroyer. If you guys want, like, a free version of the KIDD, if you will, the Benson is also another phenomenal destroyer. So, yeah, I mean, this thing's awesome. But with all that being said, guys, that's the end of the match, the end of the video. 55,000 damage, and in a Tier 7 lobby, guess what? We placed second, 2.4k base, so we will take it. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of the KIDD. Do you guys have it? Do you guys not have it? Are you guys going to get it? Are you guys going to pass? I seriously look forward to hearing back from you guys in the comments. And with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, all this stuff, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace out. Stay healthy. As always.